Few days ago I made a video about how Coral Island could be the next big farming game after Stardew Valley. There I give information, opinion and concern about the game. If you are interested, you can check that video too. Today, Stairway Games, the developer of Coral Island, released the early access roadmap. It's a detailed information and answered some of my questions in the video before this. Let's talk about it and see what we can expect from Coral Island. Just to make sure, I'm not an alpha tester or even a backer from the Kickstarter. I cannot get information about the current state about the game or looking for gameplay yet because of the NDA. Before we are talking about the roadmap, I will give you information about the early access. So the TLDR or the conclusion of what will be included in the early access release are 4 playable seasons from spring to winter. I mentioned on the last video that only English language will be available at first, but they updated. Now at the early access release, they will include English, Chinese, Japanese, German, French and Spanish. Storyline quests are there but not finished yet. I assume it's only the first part of the storyline quest, and I will explain more later when we are talking about the roadmap. You can farm, ranch and crafting in the early access version. You can also build friendships through a comprehensive relationship system. Again, not completed yet and will be updated as time goes. I assume only the 4 hearts interactions are completed for all NPC. You can catch fish, insects and underwater ocean critters. You can also be friends with a total of over 70 characters. You can also mine in the cavern. You can donate stuff to the museum. You can decorate and customize your character, house and farm, and much more. I don't know what included in this one. I cannot find more information about it. Now we talk about what is not included yet when the game released as early access and will be included later in the full version based on the roadmap. They mentioned that the early access will be at least last for 1 year, could be more for several reasons. Okay, let's go with the most important stuff first. It seems like marriage and having children will not be available yet on the roadmap. It's mentioned after the endgame content update, just before the full release. So expect for marriage and children feature in a very later version of the game. We can assume that when the early access just released, only 4 hearts content will be available for all NPC based on how they mention the 5 hearts update on spring. Combat is somehow not available yet. They mention the combat feature beta update on summer. So I guess we can only do mining for now without any combat, but correct me if I'm wrong. Only the first part of the storyline quest will be available, at least until the summer content update. The diving feature will be available after the summer content update and probably just the basic version of the feature. I assume we can only dive up to 30 meters when the update drops. The Underwater Kingdom, or called Merfolk Kingdom, will be available after the summer content update. Multiplayer feature will be added far later after the full version release, so probably in more than 1 year from now. This is personally the most disappointing part for me. Mod support will be available after the full version release and probably after the multiplayer feature. Console and Nintendo Switch release will be after the full version release, so at least 1 year from now. And lastly, localization that aren't included yet are Bahasa Indonesia, Portuguese, Russian, and Korean. There are still a lot of features that will be gradually included and updated in 1 year time span, like seasonal festivals, more decoration, deep forests, outfits, and more. But I think I already mentioned the most important features. You can read the full roadmap on the description of this video. I will leave all the links there. For anyone who don't know what early access is and why Coral Island sounds like far for a complete game when it was released, it's because that's the general idea about what early access is. From the Steamworks documentation, Steam Early Access enables you to sell your game on Steam while it is still being developed and provide context to customers that a product should be considered unfinished. Early access is a place for games that are in a playable alpha or beta state, are worth the current value of the playable build, and that you plan to continue to develop for release. So yes, Coral Island released as early access, meaning that the game is currently in a playable alpha or beta state and will be actively developed until the full release. Personally, I will approach the game with an open mind and low expectation, but cautiously excited. The game will definitely feel bad and lack of features at first, and that just because it's still in early access. Is it going to be worth to buy for $25? I will leave that answer for you to decide. And there will be a possibility that the price of the game will be increased after the full version release. What do you think about the video? Are you still excited to try Coral Island, or do you want to wait until the full release? Let's talk about it in the comment section. Consider subscribing because I'm planning to play and make a first impression video of Coral Island next week and cover a lot more farming live sim games in the future. Also follow my Twitch on twitch.tv/SleepyMortal to watch me playing Coral Island live on stream and other variety of games while chatting with me and others. Thanks for watching the video until the end. I will talk to you later. See ya.